nuts around here this morning. Hold on a second. This is episode 1128, not episode 128. Been an assortment, a basket of technical difficulties this morning, but we will make it through. Anyway, let's see. Good morning and happy Monday, and welcome back to the show. As you can see, baby Bjorn is with us today. He's a little miffed at me because he was really enjoying his time outside this morning, and I made him come in to get ready for the show with a promise that we would go back out after the show. I can work outside, and he really wants to go outside because the weather's so nice. It's like 60 something outside, which is really cool for us. And he was not happy about coming back inside this morning. So anyway, we will try to get him back out. So he may not participate this morning. He's a little miffed. Anyway, if you're joining me live, please say hello. Let me know how your weekend was. Were you crafting? Have you done anything fun? I've got fun stuff to show you and lots to talk about. Hi, Sharon and Judy G, Judy K, Judy W. Hi, Joe, Sharon, Val, Sharon, Lori, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So glad you're back with me. Looks like my computer is on top of stuff. Give me a second. Like I said, it's been a little bit of a crazy morning around here today. Lots of bizarre technical issues, but we're and human error. I had the number of the episode wrong too. I slept in braids to try to get some no heat curls in my hair today, and I don't think it worked that well. It's got a little bit of a crimp to it, but not enough to look like it's an intentional curl. Oh well. We'll add it to the list of things that didn't work out yet this morning. Hi, Tina. Good morning. All right. Hi, Carrie. Good morning. If you are already on my mailing list, which if you're not, I highly recommend you subscribing to my mailing list. It's 100% private, free, all that good stuff. There he is. Hi, sweetheart. You gonna say hi to anybody? He says, no, I want to go back outside. I know. I promise we'll go back outside in a little bit. Okay? So when I take him outside, he wears a harness, and I have a 25-foot leash, and I tie it around my waist because I feel really bad having him on a leash, and I don't want him to feel like he's the only one on a leash, so I put myself on the leash too. It's twofold. It does also offer me the ability to have my hands free so I could be typing and working, or knitting and crocheting and working. You know I like to multitask so much. And so it does offer me the ability to have both hands free, which also helps me to keep him safe. But I also feel like it puts us on equal ground being leashed. I'm not super happy about keeping him on a leash, and I want him to know that it doesn't make him less than me because of it. Yes, I know. I think about these things too much. Anyway, Tammy's been working on a scarf. That's awesome. I'm so glad. What else is everybody working on? And I'm going to show you what I've been working on too. But let's go back to the mailing list first, because I wanted to mention a couple of things. If you're on my mailing list, you got some really awesome emails last week. And if you're not on my email list, then you didn't get them. So you should subscribe. And one of the things that you would have gotten had you been on my list already is an email I sent out about temperature blankets, and actually temperature projects in general. And you know me, I like doing all the research and giving you all the nitty-gritty about something. No pun intended, really, but puns are fun anyway. But I also wanted to help encourage you to think outside the box of things too. So when talking about temperature blankets, I really took a deep dive into what are the common ways that people do temperature blankets and projects, but also what are some things that you could do in other ways of looking at it. So I'm going to share that link to the blog post because it's really deep and in detail. And it also talks about not only how you can use existing patterns for temperature blankets. Oh, Judy beat me to it. Thank you, Judy. Hi, Leona. Leona's working on Christmas stockings. That's fun too. Yeah, the leash is definitely for Bjorn's safety. Definitely. In fact, yesterday we had a little mishap. He doesn't understand what it means when he wraps himself around a pole. He's not very good about not getting tangled when we're out walking or exploring. And so it's really important that I follow him quickly so he doesn't get too tangled. But he got scared after being tangled yesterday, and it was a little bit of a nightmare, but we've survived. Hi, Betty. Hi, Lewis. Thanks, Judy. Yeah, I did a little bit of an update on the home page of my website. Home page meaning the front page you go to at kristinomdahl.com. I did 2 giant tiles at the very top of the page, 1 knitting and 1 crochet, and they'll take you to a page that talks all about the different ways that you can learn about knitting or crochet, respectively, on my website and in other resources, because I do have so many more resources than just knitting and crochet patterns. There are so many other ways to learn about both of those subjects on my website and from me specifically. So I wanted to make sure that I had 2 front and center tiles about both subjects at the very top of the page. And then some of those resources come through from there as well, not just patterns. So I wanted to make sure you understood why the change happened there. But let's get back to the temperature blanket. So if you don't have to go read it now. If you followed the link in the pre-chat, it just opens up another browser window for you right now to remind you to go read it later, or possibly you got the email from me last week. But what you're going to find when you go to that temperature blanket post is, again, it talks about temperature blankets, the hows and whys. Does everybody here know what a temperature blanket or a temperature project is? If not, I can do a quick recap here this morning too. Just leave me a comment in the live chat and let me know if you don't understand. I can explain it really quickly. But what I wanted to do in this was show you how to do it yourself, right? You don't necessarily need somebody else's pattern to do a temperature blanket or a temperature project in knitting and crochet, because more times than not, they're just done in really simple stitches, whether it's just garter stitch, just a simple knit stitch pattern, or just a simple crochet stitch pattern. Sometimes it's just single crochet. So do you really need a pattern for that? You can, but you don't need it. So I really wanted to take a deep dive, and I did all the math for you if you don't want to do the math, to figure out the range of temperatures, the average temperatures, also what range of time are you going to represent, what location, what time in history do you want to represent. So like traditionally people usually do temperature blankets for the current year, or for the year of a baby being born, the year of a wedding happening, an anniversary, and going back. So I also shared resources on there of different websites that can give you the history of temperatures. Let's say you want to do something from 1954, the place where you were born. Let's say you want to do what if you want to do a dream vacation to try to help manifest going on vacation somewhere, or just wanting to live vicariously through your dreams of where you'd like to go, even if you don't have any intention of actually going there. And the reason I say that is because I ended up or maybe your favorite vacation was in 1985 in Johannesburg, South Africa, or Naples, Italy, or Rome, Italy. You can choose to do these blankets or these projects over any time frame in history in any part of the world. And isn't that kind of exciting too? Because then that opens up color palette to be different. What if you want to be inspired by the location that you're wanting to do the blanket on? It doesn't necessarily have to be rainbow spectrum, cool colors for cold temperatures and warm colors for warm temperatures. You could do a palette based on somewhere in Italy, or somewhere in Alaska, or somewhere anywhere in the world. So I shared some color palette inspiration photos in the blog post too, to get your creative juices flowing about thinking about your favorite places on earth. What if it's a place that you love to travel to, or can't afford to travel to, don't want to travel to, or want to travel to? Any of those reasons are good reasons to want to think about one of your favorite places on earth. So I shared color palette inspiration from different parts of the earth. What else did I share in there? how to figure out the temperature ranges for each place, how to figure out, so like I figured out the range of temperatures for each given month to be able to figure out my spectrum of temperature for the whole year. And then once you have that spectrum of temperatures for the whole year, for example, in my example, I used 1985 in Rome, Italy. But you could pick last year, this year, your current location, anywhere. This is to encourage you to think outside the box on this. That's all. So I figured out that the temperature range was 48 to 99 degrees for the whole year by taking all the month ones and then putting it all together. So that was a 51-degree temperature range for the whole year. Now, if you're in Wyoming or Michigan or New York, you might have a greater temperature range. It probably gets colder where you're at than where I did this particular example. Or maybe you live somewhere like Las Vegas or the Middle East, you might have a hotter temperature range. It may either be a smaller range or a greater range, but I'm showing you one example, because what you'll do is take the highest temperature of the year, the lowest temperature of the year, subtract those, and that new number is your range. From knowing that range, you can, and then you figure out how many colors of yarn you want to represent your temperature range. Then you decide how many temperature, what is the range for each of those colors. If you're going to do it in 5 colors, I showed you an example in 5 colors, which meant it would be around 10-degree representation per color. But then I also showed you the same example with 11 colors to show you how you can change that as well. Then there's some information on picking colors with the color wheel. Then there's the inspiration colors with all different places. I showed color inspiration using Aurora Borealis, or different places in Italy, different places in Mexico. I shared some from Greece and Morocco and Alaska. Lots of gorgeous nature inspiration there. And then you want to decide what kind of stitches you want to use, right? You want to figure out your gauge. So then from there, I did the math on different gauge ranges, whether you're knitting or crocheting. And from there, I showed you how many stitches and rows you would need to complete any given project. So I did a 36-inch square baby blanket, a 50-inch by 60-inch medium Afghan, and a 70-inch by 80-inch large Afghan. And then from there, did those with a gauge of 3 stitches to the inch, at a gauge of 4 stitches to the inch, and a gauge of 5 stitches to the inch, to show you how many stitches and rows you would need to just make those in simple stitches yourself without having to find a pattern first. I also shared my guide to yarn estimates with any weight of yarn, so that you can look on there to figure out what range of yardage you might need to purchase your yarn. So for a full-size Afghan in fingering weight through number 1 fingering through number 5 bulky weight, you can see an estimated yardage so that you can figure out how much yarn you will need. And then at the very end of the blog post, I do share some patterns and upcoming stitch-alongs on different websites. But even more exciting than that is that I created a free download for you with lots of different worksheets for you to put all of this together for yourself, with a lot of the math already done for you. You can download, so on this blog post, you can download this free printable worksheet set. There's a bunch of sheets in there for recording all of the temperatures for each day in whichever place you decide to record temperature, whether it's current, a different year, your current location, a different location. It has space for every single day of the year for you to fill out. Then it also has a page for you to document what colors you're using for which temperature ranges, and I gave enough space for over 30 colors, so there's plenty of space for however detailed you want your Afghan to be. And then a place to record what yarn you used, where you bought it, what size hook you used, what your gauge is. So everything you probably need to get started and to record what you did so that you can hang on to it and use it as reference for another temperature project in the future. All of that's there. The one caveat is that my shop is not working as properly this morning. So it's possible you won't be able to get that download. Oh, it is working. Okay, so from that blog post, if you click on the free download, you can go to my shop and get that download immediately. So what's going to happen is, oh, and but wait, there's more. I know a lot of times when you get free downloads on other websites, you have to, they're called printables because you have to print them and write on them, which is great because if you sign into your account before downloading this free worksheet download, you have access to it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and unlimited downloads. I know not all websites give you unlimited downloads, but I do. But also, I have converted these PDF files to be writable as well, which means you can fill it in online and keep a record of this digitally if you don't want to print it out. How cool is that? Does anybody have any questions about that? Eve, I think your question is about the downloads, and I have a place to record all of it. If you download the worksheets that I have created for free for everybody, you can keep a record of all of your items there. Oh, any place to map the colors against the pictures. No, I didn't share that because it really is going to be specific on where you're shopping for yarn. You know, not every yarn comes in every color you're looking for. So on the photos that I shared, I did share color swatches from each of those images, and I also talked about finding different shades within each color family, so you could go with a tone that's lighter or darker within each of those color families. But I did not share a link to doing all of that extra work because it's going to be dependent on where you find your yarn. In a perfect world, we can pick our own colors, right? But then you still have to find a place that has yarn in the colors you're looking for. So I kept it very minimal so that you can use it as a stepping stone for getting started, but then you'll have to zhuzh along based on whichever yarn company you go with. We could do that as a separate video and a separate tutorial. I can take that information and then go shopping on a website with a yarn that has lots of colors and put the colors together. Would you like to see me do that another day? Because I can. All right. And let's see, where else was I going to go with that? All right, so we've talked about the temperature blanket and the free download of all the worksheets that you will need to get organized with that. If you have downloaded the sheets already, do you like them? Has anybody had a chance to take a look at them? And also wanted to give a reminder that I have a new stitch pattern download, and if you haven't noticed, I've been offering my stitch pattern downloads, even in rows, as free downloads on my website, and you can learn more of that here. This is one of them. This is one of the newer ones, a floral crochet stitch pattern, and you can, it's a free page to view it, but you can download the stitch pattern with charts for free. And then if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you can see that I've been sharing, did a soft launch on several other stitch patterns. So if you just want the even in rows stitch pattern, you can definitely get it there. How's Marlon doing? Well, he's struggling. As you know, as some of you may know, he lost the home he was staying in during the hurricane. I unfortunately don't have the space for him to stay here with Bjorn and me anymore, which is heartbreaking. And he's sleeping on the couch at his roommate's parents' home. And until they get the house back together, they're waiting on money from FEMA and from the insurance company. They lost their business. Marlon and his buddy, they lost their business doing their power washing because they lost everything in the hurricane. And, they're working on the house, putting it back together, and they've got about 4 months until the house is livable again. And in the meantime, working on it and, have I seen my old house since the storm? Yes. As you know, it was under construction before the storm. The people that bought my old house had decided to, it was a 1985 home, it had not been remodeled yet. The people that bought it with the intention of kind of gutting part of it and redoing the kitchen, the bathrooms, adding a pool, and giving the whole place a facelift. So it was in the process of that, but whatever, they've got plenty of money, and it's still going. They probably had more repairs than they thought they had to do because of the flooding and stuff. But honestly, Marlon and his friend's story is way more heartbreaking. And it's one of the reasons why I don't talk about him too much anymore, because I know not everybody wants to hear sad news all the time. But I also don't want to lie to you and tell you everything's hunky-dory. But yeah, it's hard for a lot of people here right now. The storm devastated so many people, not just so many buildings, but so many homes, so many families, so many lives. It's been really devastating for many people, including my son. Yeah, so, but they'll be fine. Yeah, I don't mention, you've been gone for a while, Kiranjit. Yes, they broke up and I don't mention her name anymore. So obviously you don't know if you haven't been here, but we don't talk about her name anymore. I don't want any liability about talking negatively about someone, but anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Obviously there was a lot more to the breakup than I feel like saying if I word it that way. So I guess you're welcome to say the name as often as you like, but I'm just letting you know that I will not say that name ever again. I don't want to be held liable for any ridiculous behavior that's been going on. So I'd love to tell you more, but that would not be the classy thing to do. Thank you so much for keeping Marlon in his thoughts. Thank you so much. You know, there's only so much I can do to help Marlon at the moment, but yeah, thank you. Good thoughts go a long way. Yes, Chris, that is... to not be able to help him more than I am is very difficult. This is why I don't talk about it. It's funny because thanks, he will be okay. You know, when sometimes things take a long time to get better. They don't always get better right away, and this is one of them. This is one of them. Anyway. Okay, so if you decide that you have any questions about the free downloads, whether it's the stitch patterns that I mentioned or the temperature blanket worksheets, let me know. If you would like me to continue making downloads of educational things or worksheets and things like that, I have been requested to do this many times over the years, and I'm very happy to do it. I just want to make sure I'm doing the things that you want to have as worksheets and stuff. Maybe you'd like some worksheets for keeping your crochet patterns and knitting patterns organized, or a way to keep an inventory of what yarns you have or what books you have. If you would like worksheets for those types of things, let me know. I'm pursuing working on more of that because I think it's really helpful for everybody to stay more organized. I would like to share some organizing tips of how I organize my yarns now that I have a small space, and I'm actually keeping yarn here now more like you. Even though I am a professional in the industry, I'm keeping an assortment of different brands of yarn, assortment of different types of yarns, and so how I organize now is a lot more similar to how you organize a hobby stash of yarn rather than when I had the yarn company. So I think it would be really helpful if I shared how I'm organizing things now. So that's what I plan to do, and I think having a worksheet for keeping up with what yarns you have and something that you can edit even would be really great. So I will always make them printable. Look at that framing of Bjorn's here. He's just staring at me. He's listening to me. He goes, "Mama, this is so interesting." Are you a captive audience today? You are. He's letting me pet his front paw and just looking at me, blinking. Oh, keep talking. So anyway, so like I said, all of my printables of the worksheet style of printables going forward will always be printable and or editable as a digital file so that you can hang on to it in both ways, which I think is especially when you're keeping an inventory of things, to be able to edit a digital file will be really convenient. But if you write in pencil, you can erase or you could scratch out or reprint things as you need. Yeah, he's a captive audience. Yes, that's cute, Angela. Thanks, Sabrina. I hope so too. Thank you. Okay, what else? I have some other things to show you here, like we didn't have it. Oh, we're almost out of time too, but I have a sneak peek for the new Swancho that's ready to come out. I just have to take photos and finish up the editing of the pattern, the charts, the written instructions, the sizes are all done. Isn't this gorgeous? I think this turned out so pretty. Isn't that great? And it's a Swancho, meaning that it's a poncho with sleeve cuffs, and it is adjustable because we did corset tying for the side seam, so you can choose how much you want it open or closed. I'm leaving side vents at the bottom, but you can choose to do that or not do that. The stitch pattern is lovely and you're going to love it. It gives the illusion of a cable, but it is not a cable. Isn't that beautiful? Yep, so this pattern is coming very soon, and that is in the Hobbii Yarns Malaga color pack, which how gorgeous do those colors work up together, just amazing. And I'll share a link to that yarn if you're interested in buying it. I bought it in the beachy blue colorways. I also bought it in the neutral, like white to black with different shades of taupe and gray in the middle. That one's really pretty too, but I went with the beachy one for this, and I love how those turned out. Now, you know I'm in love with Hobbii Yarns color packs. Whoever puts their colors together definitely gets my approval for being a color aficionado. This is a worsted weight yarn. Yes, Lori, the Malaga color pack, or Malaga yarn in general, is a worsted weight yarn. Now, I also purchased, if you remember my unboxing videos, I also purchased their baby organic cotton. That's 100% Egyptian cotton, #1 fingering weight. I bought a color pack in this yarn too. Oh my goodness. First of all, the colors looked amazing in the bag, and they looked amazing on the website. Let's go all the way back. They looked amazing on the website. I had a really hard time picking colors because I thought they were so pretty on the website. End up going with a beachy plan. You know, shocker. I realized yesterday it's been 4 months since I've been to the beach. How sad. Anyway, so I bought the 10-pack of this yarn and in the beachy colors, and it was gorgeous on the website. It was just as gorgeous when it got here in person. And would you like to see it worked up? Look at how pretty it is worked up. So I've got half of my project done so far, but how gorgeous is that motif and the stitch pattern. So what I did was I designed the motif. And then, oh, thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Every dollar counts. I designed the motif first. In fact, I can show you the swatch where I designed the motif first, and then I worked on the charts after that. So I made the motif, deconstructed the motif into a repeating stitch pattern. It's a 4-row stitch pattern. The motif is 5 rounds, specifically so that I could use one of each of the 5 colors. And then I did the stitch pattern in stripes, doing two rows of each color, and then alternating the colors. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's 5 colors, but 4 stripes. And so what that means is that it takes multiple repeats of the striping to get a repeat, which means it looks way more random than it is. So let me give you an example. So we started the rows here with the mint green in the lacy section and then go on to the solid stripe. Notice in the second repeat of the mint, the second time we repeat in the 5 colors, that second repeat of the mint ends up being in the different section of the stitch pattern. That's because we're using 5 colors with 4 stripes. It ends up giving us a much greater range of the striping of the colors that way. It's not a 5, it doesn't look like a 5 color stripe then. It'll look much more random than that. And isn't it beautiful? So the motif is the exact same stitch pattern as the stripe as well. Isn't that cool? So everything matches, which I absolutely love. Does anyone want to guess what it's going to be? I'm not even showing it full size, but, and then I alternated the colors in the motifs. I went colors like 1 through 5 here, and then colors 5 through 1 there. So I did the motif, I alternated the motifs doing the colors in opposite directions, but only in the 2 ways. So I did colors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or A, B, C, D, E, and then colors 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or E, D, C, B, A. Does that make sense? And then I did the stripes in colors A, B, C, D, E, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throughout, but did it in the 4 stripe repeat, or actually it's a 2 stripe repeat. I take that back, it's a 2 stripe repeat because you're doing 2 rows each in each color of the 4 row repeat. So it's a 2 stripe repeat, even though it's a 4 row repeat, done in 5 colors. So 2 times 5, every 10 rows will be a repeat in the color. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's really exciting. Can't wait to show you. I'll give you a hint. This design is inspired by an artist that I love. Ooh, that's such a good hint because it's, ooh, that's a good hint. Inspired by one of my favorite artists. And I'm not going to tell you what kind of artist. How's that? But I'll tell you when it comes out. It's not a Rwanda. It's not a blanket, it's not a wrap, it's not a table runner. But those are all awesome guesses, and it would be gorgeous in all of those. No, not Monet. I'm not going to say what kind of artist either. Nope, not Picasso. Good choices, but not even close. They're not even warm. I'll say those are more cool guesses than warm guesses. And I'm not going to say what kind of artist, which probably gives it away in a little bit, but whatever. Anyway, how fun. I love doing this kind of stuff. Isn't guessing fun? Isn't anticipation fun? We live in a world where we get instant gratification for anything. Anytime I can add a little anticipation or mystery into something, I think it just makes things so much more fun. It's just a nice change from what we're used to, right? Which reminds me, we have a mystery crochet along coming. Have you signed up yet? If you haven't, I will give you a link. Let's see. Here's the blog post about it, which explains what's going to be happening, and then from there you can follow the link to download the pattern. And then what you'll get in the pattern now is you will get the yarn requirements. I have 2 different sets of yarn of suggestions. I made the first one in Andean Treasure, which is a #2 sport weight 100% baby alpaca yarn from Knit Picks, and I did the second one in Shine Sport, a #2 sport weight yarn also by Knit Picks that is a blend of Pima cotton and Tencel, and they're both sport weight. You could do the project in any sport weight yarn, but I offered both options to anybody that wants to do maybe a warmer weather and a cooler weather version of the project. I did share that it's a cowl because I know some people really prefer to know what kind of project it is, even if it's a mystery, but that's all I will share so far. It's going to be fabulous and fun. There's going to be several weeks. It's going to go on the whole month of January. So the first section of the pattern will be released on January 2nd, and then every week thereafter, each section will be released, and by the end of the month, you should have your mystery crochet along done. So fun. No, none of the artist guesses are correct, and none of them are even close. I'm not going to say what kind of artist. That's another hint, actually. But the mystery crochet along is going to be super fun. There'll be video tutorials for each section. Each section comes with a chart. It's really easy to follow along. It's not a hard project. It's a fun project, and it'll be a fun way to work together as well. So you can work together as a group, chat about it in the forums. Don't forget about the forums. It's a great place to join with other community members, people that you meet here in the live chat. You can continue the party throughout the day in the KO community forums on my website, 100% private. No one can even see what you've written unless they're logged into their account. You also have the ability to direct message each other there, which is 100% private as well. And it's all moderated too, so no funny business going on over there. Same as here. Shout out to all our moderators for keeping it clean and safe here as well. You guys are awesome. What else? What else? If you want to come back tomorrow, we're going to be doing our Shawls for Sharing episode, our weekly Shawls for Sharing episode on the Kristin Omdahl Show, where we talk about charity and charity shawls and different ways to give back. It's super fun and a great inspiration to all of us because everybody shares their ideas. And is what going to be hung, Joan? I can't even figure that one out. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Let's see, what else did I miss? Anything else? All right, well, thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with Bjorn and me. You've been so patient, sugar. Oh, the new project. No, it's not the mystery project or this one. Neither one is going to be hung. Neither one. All right, thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with us. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Don't forget, sign up for my mailing list if you want to be notified when things are coming new. Lots of things happened last week, lots of things happen every week, and it's the first place to get a hold of new and exciting information. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.